Welcome to another episode of What Is It Wednesday? Here we have the PILEA peperomioides. Other names are to include the Chinese money plant, UFO plant, pancake plant, a lucky plant, and a friendship plant. As you can tell, it's due to the shape of its leaves, round, circular, flat. This flowering plant is in the nettle family, and it's native to southern China, growing naturally along the base of the Himalayan mountains. Although pretty rare to bloom indoors, a shock to the system might cause it to bloom. And it would have little white flowers. In the wild, it would grow up to about 12 inches in height. As you can see, indoors it has the opportunity to grow much taller. This one is almost 15 inches, I would guess. It's standing on its own, but it may need to be staked to help it support it. In the near future, it is very fragile, wobbly, has a very sturdy base to keep it in, to keep it from tipping over. It won't branch out, but it will make babies, as you see, and therefore can be called the friendship plant, because you can easily separate the pups with carefully removing them from the soil or cutting them at the base, and then putting them in water to get roots, and then replanting. Generally, you can just separate the soil, put it in a new pot, and watch it grow. It also helps when you remove them, as it is taking nutrients from the mother plant, as some of the leaves are yellowing. So at some point I need to remove maybe the bigger baby out, and the plant will stay stable, because it is losing leaves from the bottom. If you overwater it just slightly, it gets finicky. If you underwater it, they could start to turn brown and dry out. It loves bright indirect light, and you can tell it grows from the top. The stem just keeps growing up as new stems and leaves will grow out. You need to rotate the plant every so often if you have it near a window, to keep it from growing mainly on one side, and it will grow evenly all around. The leaves may turn a little curled inwards. As this shows, I had watered it a few days ago, gave it a good soaking, so I think it's trying to dry out from that. But then you have other leaves that will curl outwards. So sometimes it's hard to tell if you're under or over watering. You should use a moisture meter, or here I use clear pots so that I can see how wet the soil is and make sure it gets thoroughly watered when I do water. As with most plants, you should have well-draining soil. This tends to not need as much water in between waterings. It likes to dry out. Unless you're in a really hot environment, you would need a humidifier to keep the leaves from drying out. This plant seems to be a little bit better at pest resistance, but knock on wood, I haven't had any issues, but they are prone to scale or other insects that like to chew. But the leaves are thicker, waxier, so it makes it a little more difficult. You want to fertilize monthly, spring and summer months, maybe semi-monthly through the winter, and always dilute it. Overall, this makes a great plant, makes a great gift, and bonus, it's not toxic to pets or humans. Be patient. They're not super fast growers, but before you know it, it'll be mature, it'll shoot out pups, and then you know it's in a good happy spot. If not, try moving it to a different window, being brighter light on it, maybe artificial light if you don't have it a good window spot for it, but definitely not direct light. As you can see here, this is how a baby one might look as you first pot it or you buy it as a baby. This one is overly dry. It was already shooting out pups, maybe stressed out. It's easy to forget if you have it in a back spot or you get busy. They do dry out faster when they are in the smaller pot stage. But I'm going to give it a good soaking and hopefully it bounces back and doesn't end up like its sibling did. If you underwater it too long and then you water it, it is just going to rot. And then it's done.